I fired an employee because he had to go to his aunt's funeral.
Now, to be fair to this guy, I have just spent the last few hours listening to lots of people say they got fired for going to a funeral.
Oh, it was New Year's Eve, and we had already planned to be super busy. And in the restaurant business, typically this would be a blackout date where we don't allow anyone to request off, and it's all hands on deck because it's going to be that busy.
Surely a boss would get on TikTok and publicly declare that they happily and proudly fired somebody for going to a funeral.
I was informed by the host that I had a phone call, and when I answered it, it was my nighttime closing dishwasher.
First of all, him saying that they had decided to block out New Year's Eve and give nobody time off, just made me think, are you expecting your workers to work overtime? Do jobs outside of their job description? Do you pay them extra? I think a man that will fire his worker over going to a funeral is not the type to be paying his workers penalty rates when they come in and work extra hours.
Informed by the host that I had a phone call, and when I answered it, it was my nighttime closing dishwasher.
So quickly played that again because in case anyone missed it. His employee is his nighttime dishwasher. Well, why on earth have you locked your nighttime dishwasher down for the whole of New Year's Eve if his only job is to wash the night dishes? If you're the dishwasher and you're getting paid as a dishwasher and you're a casual staff, bosses can't be demanding extra from you and getting upset when you don't give them extra just because they want to make some money on New Year's Eve by keeping their establishment open. What an entitled employer.
He was communicating to me that he would not be able to make it into work tonight. So when I asked him why he would not be able to make it in, he told me that it was his aunt's funeral, so he would definitely not be making it in for his New Year's Eve closing shift. He proceeded to tell me that this was his favorite aunt, and it was just like a second mom to him.
Absolutely no sympathy from that, boss. I guess maybe it is an American thing. To be all mocking like, Then he tells me it was his favourite auntie. As I'm concerned, the first words out of his mouth, it should have been, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear of your loss. What can I do for you?"
I did ask him why he waited to the day of the funeral to mention it because I know funeral arrangements just don't happen within a few hours. He told me that his mom had just informed him of this funeral this morning. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if that was your favorite aunt, wouldn't you know that she passed away before the day of the funeral?
Wow, what a suspicious boss. Now, the fact that this guy didn't tell you that his aunt had died until New Year's Day, it didn't mean he didn't know his aunt had died until New Year's Day. But also, even if he had realised a few days before, what was he going to do about that knowledge? He knew you would say no, whether he asked 3 days before or whether he asked the day of. I don't know why you are acting all suspicious about why he would wait until the actual day before calling you and letting you know. He's obviously not friends. And when he did finally tell you, you went, well.
He was doing a lot of stuttering, so I kind of knew that maybe this story wasn't quite what it seemed. So when I get a hunch, I start asking questions, a lot of questions. Because if you're lying, you're going to slip up or you're not going to know how to answer those questions. So I was like,
it really doesn't matter what reason he gave you. It doesn't sound like he's a permanent staff. It doesn't sound like he owes you anything. It sounds like you've asked him work out of his job description. He actually shouldn't have given you any type of reason. He doesn't owe you a reason. This guy did not owe you a thing.
I was like, well, man, I'm very sorry to hear that your aunt passed away.
Certainly don't have a right to start asking personal questions if you're pretending to be kind and thoughtful when really you're just trying to trip this guy up. See how sick and twisted that sounds?
Like, what exactly happened? He sat there for a few seconds, then he was like, oh, it was a car accident. I was like, man, that is horrific. Like, where exactly did this accident happen? And when did it happen? He's telling me it happened in Birmingham and downtown, and Of course, as I'm talking to him on the store phone, I'm pulling out my cell phone and I'm looking up the date, car accidents, Birmingham. I'm not seeing anything, but of course not all accidents are posted, so I continue to ask questions.
My first thought is this guy's not lying, he just doesn't want to tell you anything. Unless he's a total idiot, he would know full well that you are asking him questions to try and catch him out. He didn't owe you those answers. He didn't actually lie to you. He didn't owe you the answers. He did not owe you that information. The way you are, I can imagine he was maybe a little bit worried if you knew where the funeral was, you would rock up and make a scene. I don't think he would have been stupid thinking like that. He just picked up on your stalker vibes.
Was the service going to be at a church? And he told me it was. And then I asked him the name of the church just in case we wanted to send flowers. There was a long pause in the delay, and he gave me the name of the church and the time of the service. As he's explaining that, I'm looking on my phone again, looking up the church. I'm checking the local funeral homes to check and see. I'm looking for anything I can.
Oh my goodness. So here you are being all cocky. What you've forgotten is the fact that a lot of people question when somebody asks them questions, especially if the questions are weird. He would absolutely have known as soon as you started asking questions that you were trying to trip him up. So you literally said to him, oh, where's the church? In case we want to send flowers to the church. I'm guessing you have definitely never sent flowers to a funeral. The fact that you said, can I have the address just in case I want to send flowers? Well, just in case means you're not, so you don't really need the address. Two, if the funeral's over, why are you sending flowers to the church? It would have been like, whoa, who sends flowers to a church after somebody's funeral? No one. This guy had already worked you out with all your questions, and he was definitely throwing you lies. You definitely stuffed yourself up by asking way too many questions.
And to do with this church, and I'm not even seeing the church that he said the name of in Birmingham. So then I ask his aunt's name, he tells me her name, and then as he's talking, I'm looking up to see about obituaries. Not finding anything. So then when I felt like I had all the information I needed, I told him, hey, you know what? I'll let you off for the funeral. And he also said he was going to need New Year's Day off too. I was like, okay, that's fine.
I mean, you said to him, oh, well, I'm going to give you the day off for the funeral. You had no choice. You didn't give him the day off for the funeral. You spent most of the day trying to find out exactly where he was. You did not give him the day off.
I was like, okay, that's fine. But hey, like, do me a favor when you come back in 2 days. I need you to bring me the little pamphlet from the funeral, you know, because I want to read about your aunt and I want to read about the service. Bring me that back when you come back.
What, does he think he's being like a spy and undercover? He just asked him for the funeral pamphlet because, you know, he wanted to read about his auntie and get to know it. Like, what? Do you actually think any single person would have believed that story? It's a bit weird to ask a grieving nephew or give back one of the funeral pamphlets. It's weird. Weird questions got weirder and more obvious. You're not being clever. You are just not being clever at all.
And we're all cool. He said, okay, I will, and we hung up. Do you think he come back to work? Hell no.
And you're shocked? You just can't imagine any mentally sane person wanting to go back to work for a boss that had spent a whole day trying to stalk them. You were stalking a funeral. That's crazy.
Because he was lying. I'm not the manager to play with. You can't play a player. So if you're going to call out on me, you better have all your ducks in a row, all your information correct, because I will investigate.
Oh, it's amazing what people can tell themselves when they've got an ego as big as this guy. You did nothing. You spent all day looking for a funeral that you never managed to find. We bet money on the fact that that funeral actually happened. Your employee just knew exactly what you were like. No investigation techniques at all. Every question you asked him was weird and enough to let him know exactly what you were doing. This guy did get away with calling in on your busiest day of the year. You couldn't do anything about it. He told you he was taking the next day off, and then he just didn't even come back. He didn't even bother telling you he was leaving. You didn't even get, I quit.
I fired an employee.
He really did make this TikTok just to brag that he fired his employee for going to a funeral. What's crazy is his ego was obviously so hurt and he really just could not handle it. I felt like this employee had deliberately waited to New Year's Eve to tell his boss so that his boss was going to be stuck, understaffed on one of his busiest days of the year. He could have decided to quit any other day, but he chose the day that his boss needed him the most. You didn't have the gall to actually fire this guy. You saved yourself all this drama if you just said you're fired. So if you've gone this far, I'd love to know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.